Very good to all classmates and teacher. Today we present a little about the author Lewis Carroll and his work of Alice in Wonderland. Without further delay, let's begin. The topics that we'll address will be autobiography, plots of the novel, characters, impact of the publication in his context. Here shows a phrase said by the author in the world of Alice. Let's talk a little about his biography. In 1862, during one of his usual walks with the little Alice, lived Dell and her two sisters, daughters of the Dean of Christ Church. Lewis Carroll told them a fantastic story, Alice's Underground Adventures. The book was published in 1865 under the title Alice in Wonderland. He paid for the edition himself, which was a bestseller and received unanimous to critical acclaim. Factors that prompted Carroll to write a sequel, entitled Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. The peculiar combination of fantasy, nonsense, and absurdity, together with incisive logical and mathematical paradoxes, allowed the works to become both classics of children's literature and intelligent moral satires, full of psychological and logical notes, all taught naturally for adult and inattentive audience. On the other hand, Carroll's sexual tendencies have been the subject of various speculation, especially in relation to his numerous friendships with girls who he liked to photograph in the most various poses, dressed in a multitude of clothes, and even naked. Due to the criticisms he had received, he abandoned his love of photography in 1880. Although he had also portrayed personalities such as the painter Dante Gabriel Rossetti, the poet Alfred Tennyson, the actress Ellen Terry, and the photographer Julia Margaret Cameron. Lewis Carroll also wrote poetry, a field in which his narrative poem, The Hunt for the Snark, stands, also fantastic elements in addition to various mathematical texts. He was the author of works devoted to symbolic logic, with the explicit purpose of popularizing, in which his notes he passion for exploring the limits and contradictions of accepted principles. And this was a bit of what the author's life was like. Now we'll spend in with our partner Jocelyn.
He has written several books and poems. Some of the most famous are Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, The Mouse's Tale, Phantasmagoria, Through the Looking Glass, Jabberwocky, The Hunting of the Snark, A Tangled Tale, The Game of Logic, Sylvie and Bruno, and The Nursery Alice. Now I will talk a little about what this book is about. Alice is sitting next to her sister while they read. Alice gets bored and gets distracted in her own imagination. She suddenly passes a rabbit running past her, muttering that he's running late. Curious, Alice runs after him. She sees the rabbit go into a hole and does the same, but she suddenly falls into a wide corridor with many doors, losing sight of the rabbit. She tries to enter a door where a beautiful garden can be seen in the distance, but she cannot cross the door since it's too big to fit through the small door. Looking around, she sees a bottle that she can string and then eats one of the cakes that are there too, but they make her extremely large. She runs past the rabbit once more and drops a phone, which causes Alice to return to her normal size. This is how she begins her adventures in a wacky world, drinking different drinks and eating strange cakes, which shrinks and strange her, putting her in dangerous situations. During the process, she begins to meet different animals who will accompany her through the story. In one of her adventures with the animals, she comes to a house and enters out of curiosity, overhearing a messenger from the queen extending an invitation to a game of croquet. She finds the Dormouse and the Hatter participating in the tea party, drinking impermanently, and they tell crazy stories, so Alice decides to leave the meeting. She plays croquet with the Queen of Hearts, and even she is summoned as a witness in a legal process that initiates another of the cards. In the card game, Alice realizes that everyone played without any order. Argyn and the Queen ordered to cut off the head of everyone who came to her mind. Alice's testimony is brief, since when asked what she knew about the matter, she says nothing. However, the Queen insists on passing sentence even before hearing verdict, and the Queen orders her to be beheaded. At the moment when they harass her to behead her, she wakes up.
Well, I'm going to talk about the main characters of this work. Let's start with Alice. She's a creative, dreamy, curious, and somewhat disobedient girl. She thought that the world she lived in was very boring and that her world would be full of nonsense. White Rabbit is a rabbit with glasses, a vest, and a watch. His great obsession is time, since he keeps repeating that he's late and that is why he always in a hurry. The caterpillar loves to smoke pipe. She insists a lot that Alice answers the question, "Who are you?" Tweedledee and Tweedledum are two totally alike men. They are very annoying and insistent as they do everything possible to make Alice stay with them for a while. Cheshire Cat uh, loves giving false leads and talking in code. He enjoys teasing Alice and constantly appearing and disappearing. The Mad Hatter is one of the craziest characters in Wonderland. He loves to drink tea and celebrate on birthday party. He is very interested in Alice telling him what is bothering her. And finally, the Queen of Hearts. He's very smug and rude. She rules Wonderland with a firm hand from her castle.
Impact of the publication in its context. Alice in Wonderland was published to critical praise. Even the Queen Victoria said that was one of her favorite books. One of the best known works of Victorian literature. Its narrative, structure, characters, and imagery have had huge influence on popular culture and literature, especially on the fantasy genre. The book has never been out of print and has been translated into 174 languages. In 2014, Robert McCombs named Alice one of the best loved in the English canon and called it perhaps the greatest, possibly most influential, as certainly the most world-famous Victorian English fiction. Its legacy covers adaptation for screen, radio, art, ballet, opera, musicals, theme parks, board games, and video games. In conclusion, the novel has sold over 100 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling books in history. This book is a popular icon and has been a source of inspiration and creativity for millions of people. Lewis Carroll has gone down in history as one of the greatest writers, and his legacy continues to resonate till this day.